All right, gonna be doing a real quick video today. I got oil filter bypass set up. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, essentially you just pull an oil supply from somewhere, and then at a very small volume you run it through this filter and then back into the system. In this case, the easiest way is to just drain it back into the oil cap. I'm sure there's other options, but that's the easiest, and that's how this kit was made to be used. Ideally, you would just drain it back to the oil pan and it'd be a little bit cleaner, but for simplicity, this is how this one goes. I don't think this was made for this truck because it doesn't fit with this bracket, so I'm gonna modify it a little bit here or try to remount somewhere else. It's designed to go right here. It's definitely made for a Cummins, but it hits the fuse box there, so maybe it's made for like a second or third gen. I'm not sure. There's a fourth gen truck, but anyways, this will lengthen your oil change increments by installing one of these big time. It really helps keep the oil clean. A lot of semi trucks will use bypass oil filter setups like this. But anyways, I built a setup from scratch on my 7.3 Power Stroke because I couldn't find a kit. This thing was kind of pricey from what I remember. I've had it sitting around for a while. I actually bought it for one of my other trucks, but I don't have it anymore. Anyways, you'll get your oil supply right down here by the filter. You can see right there. Let's go. Just remove that plug, and then you'll pull your oil from there, run it into the filter housing, and then out, drain to the cap. So I'm gonna get started on figuring out how to fit this thing. All right, so I mounted that bracket in there. Got to get a different piece of hardware for that back bolt. One they gave me was a little too long, but besides that, this bracket's super nice, so I'm trying not to chop it up. So I just took the pedestal off and rotated it on the bracket, and then I clocked the fittings for the oil lines so they're not aimed down, and clears my intake horn nicely, tucks it up right between there, and then still have room to like access power steering if needed. And probably gonna change that out for like a cap style filter setup like I did on my 3rd gen, and then I'll be able to still access all of that. So looks like that's kind of the move right there. Worked out accidentally perfectly so far. So I'm gonna pop this intake off here so I can get down to that oil port and get that fitting on, and find a hardware bolt for that. Other than that, this is turning out nicely for not getting out the cutoff wheel yet. All right, it's all finished up, real straightforward. Got the fitting on there. It was pretty close to that coolant line. I had to kind of pry that back a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't make it start to leak. That's just a press fit right there behind it with like an O-ring. So I started it up, it wasn't leaking, so I think we're all right, but makes me a little nervous. Be cool to just replace all of these with something a little cleaner. Pretty much just a line that runs from the heater core, has a feed to the turbo coolant, and then it runs, I think, to the back of the water neck down there. So someone probably makes like an aftermarket setup to clean it up a bit, but if this doesn't leak, then I'm not too worried about it. But everything else, no leaks anywhere. We're good. I used a press-in zip tie thing there to hold all that up there, but it honestly isn't long enough to get into the fan anyways. Just thought it'd look nice, but yeah, pretty simple. Really nice setup, to be honest. I would assume it's for a 3rd gen that has this box maybe moved a little bit differently. But yeah, this bracket's real heavy duty. Obviously your truck would have to be deleted, I think, for this the bracket to work. Other than that, really nice, straightforward. This thing would probably work on a 12 valve even. It's all pretty much the same stuff, so super nice, real easy, straightforward. Definitely worth a couple $100 to you know, after like one oil change, it'd pay for itself. And the extra protection with your motor oil is pretty cool. Do recommend. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you got any questions, I guess leave a comment, but pretty standard. Give you guys an idea how much oil flows through there. Pretty small amount.